we always got a moment to just a little bit of hip hop. We're hip hop Jason here. And actually, this interview, this story broke like months ago at this point. This is surrounding Lil Baby when he put out his album Lamb at the top of the year. It definitely debuted. Is that what the professionals say, with mixed reviews? But this was so interesting to me. I'm kind of pissed we didn't talk about it sooner. But this was so interesting to me because this happens. This has been happening all throughout probably time, but we've definitely seen it a lot in hip hop where artists get older. Of course, nobody can beat the battle of age. Artists go older, and you see their demographics start to change. Obviously, there was a once upon a time where like all the teenagers were listening to Nas, to Tupac, Biggie, but now the demographic of people that are really 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 into Nas is probably going to skew a little older. And we see this, and usually, and I don't know about usually, but we see a lot of times where it's like a graceful transition. But sometimes there's this weird situation of like, we're starting to call an artist like washed, or they're not really hip anymore because younger audiences aren't listening to it. So we've seen that time and time again. But this particular case seems like it's really fresh in our minds because, I mean, I don't know off the top of my head when was Lil Baby's debut album, but it must have been in the last like 7 plus or minus. Maybe it was 2014. Maybe it could have been 10 years ago. I think a lot of people would still consider him to be like a relative, not the newest guy in the block, but he's not old. He's even further. He's a few years removed from even like Cole and Drake and stuff. So definitely a newer act by a lot of metrics. But like I mentioned, when he released his album Lamb, it actually didn't get the highest level of love and ratings from, in particular, Kai Cenat, who is like one of the faces of like a newer generation because of his popularity when it pertains to streaming. So they were doing an interview with Complex, and this was post when Kai Cenat, or if you don't know, Kai Cenat often will do a stream. It will do a live stream where he does like a live music, what do they call it, listening session to new artists, and he also did it with Lil Baby's album, and he gave it a 6 out of 10, which average, about a little above average. And obviously, when we're talking about artists that's as big as Lil Baby, you'd think it would be way higher. But let's hear what he had to say in reacting to that score that he got from Kai.
Not have reviewed the project. Were you able to see that review, and what did you think of it?
I seen like little clips of it, but people like Castanet, I feel like they like younger. You know, like they ain't gonna really to understand how I'm coming. Mm-hmm. You kind of gotta be a little older to get it.
Who do you think is like the right age demographic?
See, that's something that's like changed anyway, because I never would think no age demographic good to like rate music unless you're like a music person. The screamers and the people who like do reviews is like they personal opinion.
So you're an artist who still like respects the opinion of a music pundit or like a journalist or someone who's...
I respect everybody's opinion. Everybody got opinions. See, that's a part of like the new generation. They don't even have that when I first started dropping it. You might got 1 or 2 people who do like reviews, you know what I'm saying? Now it's like more of a, I don't know what to call it, what it be now. I could honestly see it be like, it's just like to go viral. I see people post like they hate a song, but they still playing the song.
And so that's kind of what you've stopped paying as much attention to.
I ain't never paid attention to that type, but now I just see it more. But I never paid attention to it, whether if it was a great review or not. I don't look at stuff like that. Not saying for me, I'm saying for anybody. Like I never go and watch somebody else review an album. I'm gonna listen to the album and feel how I feel. You know?
Let's start our podcast. We want to be a podcast. We often do music reviews. And also, even though I kind of fell out from the music reviews channels and content creators, we do always got to give a salute to like the dead and hip hop of the world. I'm gonna say Nardo Wick, Needle Drops, Anthony Tifantanos. Like they really were some of the predominant faces of putting some high level conscious effort into reviewing music. But that aside. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if do I even have to ask you guys to like? I guess start off like it's kind of agreed that like it's kind of interesting the fact that he's still a somewhat recent artist in recent times. Do we view him like that, or is he legacy artist at this point?
Still feels recent to me.
He's very recent.
Okay, just wanted to clear that up across the board. So yeah, so that being the case, and obviously, like I said, we all get older. You can't fight that. What is seeing this? What comes to your mind? Is it like really unbeatable? Does he sound like he's a bit salty, low key? Is it like can you really just not at some point in time continue to make music that resonates with younger folks? Is this really a sign that he's on this decline and really has nothing to do with the younger versus older generation? What do you think, Ace? I'll start with you.
Um, yeah, I'm not gonna necessarily put it on him and say he's salty or anything like that. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt that this is actually how he feels. He just feels that he's not connecting with the younger generation. He doesn't expect it, but that is surprising to me because I do associate uh, him in general with connecting to the younger generation. So if he's not, I don't know who is actually listening to him if he's not connecting to the younger generation. Um, so yeah, there's that. Like it's surprising from that standpoint that he would say that he doesn't expect his sound to resonate with a younger audience. Um, but
And that's why people,
yeah,
and that's why people are saying like, nah, dog, maybe you're just missing the mark because if you can't connect to the younger generation, what are you gonna
yeah,
connect with? The old heads?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. That would be the response. Like it does seem to be uh, I don't want to say delusional, but like an incorrect conclusion that he's drawn. Um, Even if it's sincere, it does seem to be incorrect, and that's what I would posit if I were the interviewer. Um,
Damn.
but but yeah, other than that, like I'm fine with his response. It just seems a little far fetched. Like that he wouldn't think that his stuff connects to the younger generation, or that's not his core audience.
Damn. What about you, Ghost? What comes to your mind in listening to his reaction to getting that type of review from a quote unquote younger? Because I think he is in his 30s at this point. Kai is in his early 20s, so I guess it is a quote unquote younger generation. But it's kind of like how we call you a younger generation when you're only a few years off of us. What do you think about this?
I don't even know what to few to be honest, but I'm not gonna say it's salty because it didn't really come off that way, but like Kai Cenat is the exact age when I think of Lil Baby's demographic. Like he's 23. That is the exact age that I would think his demographic is. And I noticed he didn't answer when the interviewer asked what he thinks his real demographic is, because if it's people my age,
Well,
uh, I
I
don't know.
I caught that too. I don't know if he's conscious enough to do this. I think he kind of did want to avoid that because it gets awkward. But from a general perspective, you probably never wanted to pull a specific answer to that because you don't want to alienate anybody.
Yeah, I guess it might just be PR, but I mean, that aside, like I don't know if there's anything with his take because I do agree that a lot of these streamers, like, I don't want to single anyone out, but a lot of these streamers don't be really knowing music. It's just kind of rating and based on vibes and stuff, which is fine, but it's a lot different from getting reviews from people that actually listen to music and do it for a living. Even though at the end of the day, it is all opinions, but I don't know. I guess I didn't have a huge problem with what he's saying here, even though I do think there's a little bit of cope.
Yeah. Um. Well, what if anything would you say to the say the Lil Baby, or an artist that feels as if they no longer connect with the youth, would you recommend they try to not reenact? What's what I'm looking for? Like make music that's of a similar vibe to their previous music? Would they? Do you think they should specifically try to cater to an older audience? What if any advice would you give them?
I mean, we might have discussed this before, but I mean, you know me, I'm not gonna tell them to do that because come off as fake and corny. It's probably gonna be trash.
If they did what
But
specifically? Sorry.
say it again.
If they did
Cater
what
to the
specifically?
younger audience.
If they cater to a different audience solely for the purpose of trying to reach a new demographic for money, like
Well, not for money, but to put out music that they'll think they will enjoy.
yeah, okay, it's for money.
I mean,
These
in
artists can
so much
say-
that all artists put out a product forward to recuperate to make a profit.
Okay, putting my hate aside, if it is just purely for wanting to reach another audience, just so your music reaches as much people as possible, even so, going out and making music with the sole express purpose of doing that, of reaching a specific demographic, instead of letting it happen naturally or organically, just it really comes off as unauthentic and fake. Even if you're successful at it, like look at Drake.
What if you feel? What if you feel you're losing your audience though?
Losing your audience, I guess it becomes, are you losing your audience because you're just doing the same thing and they're getting tired of it even if you're doing it at the same level, or is your music just not as good and that's why you're losing your audience?
Yikes! Yikes! Jeez. What about you, Ace? If you were in the seat of a manager or an AR or just a music, just give some general advice to an artist, and they felt as if on a younger artist, a younger generation doesn't really connect with their music. What would you, if anything, recommend to them? Start making music that connects with that youth, or chase something else, or do something else.
Um, I wouldn't necessarily say make music that connects with the youth. I still think you should make music that you want to make, but you gotta figure a way to try to get it out to the younger audiences and make it not make it go viral, but like try to get it to be like a viral thing where if it's not that you're if it's what was I gonna say, like can you work with artists that are still relevant to younger audiences, or
The
can
Drake strap.
you yeah, or can you, I don't know, take the approach of like making more social media appearances, or like even going on Kai's stream or something like that to get yourself out in front of the audiences that you're trying to target. I think that would be more so the direction I would say. But the music itself does, I think, have to feel in some way organic, and it is going to get to a point where like once you get into your 30s, you can't, well, Drake being the anomaly, you can't really just continue to rap about stuff that's going to appear to a younger audience and seem to still be genuine. Like at some point the I don't know, the content or the way in which you go about making music, it has to feel genuine. And if you're not at that stage truly in your life, if you're not young, carefree type thing, then regardless of whether you try to make that music, I think you're much more likely to fail than doing those other things.
Yeah, I actually very much tend to agree with you. Um, it's just so kind of well, one, the gag is like, yeah, like you said, like if you really wanted to stay hip, then you go hit up a Kosh and that, or these days Black Boy Max, and really get on their stream. The problem is, and someone like DJ Academic can break this down better, but like one thing I really observed, there's not many artists that when they go on these streams, and it's crazy because you see a lot more artists doing streams, like Tyga's streaming now, Lizzo's streaming. There's a lot of artists doing streams because they gotta still pay the bills. And you just realize some artists and streamers, they're just different. There's this big disconnect. I think it was really highlighted by the Black Boy Max Lil TJ Fabi Foreign Airbnb situation. But like rappers, which you wouldn't think these days, because we think of a lot of these rappers these days kind of like goofier and a little bit more eccentric. But a lot of rappers are still too what's the expression, too cool for school. Like they get on the screen and sorry, I had that K, you know me, and they'll just be kind of chilling there.
Yeah.
When the meta is like, chat, what do you think of this? Chat, how do you do this? Chat, like, what do I do? Like, you have to be very talkative, active, proactive when you're doing a stream. And I've literally seen like Lil Baby's been on Kai Cenat streams, and he's just chilling there. He's just
he doesn't really seem like he would be somebody that would.
What did that chatter say? Like he just won't even really be talking.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cool. It's like those two worlds don't have to intersect like one to one. There are some artists that are really cool, like Salute to T-Pain. Like he's actually one of the best streamers.
Wait, real quick, did you see when he subbed in for Moist Critical?
I didn't see the whole thing, but I did see a bit of that.
That's so stupid.
Yeah, T-Pain is just authentically just living life, so he fits more into that. So yeah, artists definitely have to find something. Remember back in the day when it was like the dance meta, where you had to make a song that people could dance to on like TikTok and stuff.
I don't.
Fair enough. I feel it's one. Oh yeah, the last thing I was gonna say, and obviously I never want to, unless I want to, insult artists and streamers and things like other content creators, but at the same time, and I know you all haven't probably gave Wham an extensive listen, but like, remember when on the last Lil Baby album, or the one maybe 2 albums ago, where where there was that little thing going on? I think I sent it to y'all, where like every record sounded the same. I think that's the conversations that artists should be having before we even talk about what demographic you appeal to.
Yeah.
I dead ass think, and I don't know if labels do this, and I don't want to spend too much time talking about this. Every artist should do one of those things where they do a shortcut of every one of your songs and just make a 1 minute, 2 minute clip about it. And if you go through that 2 minute, 1 minute clip, and it sounds like the record never changed, you might need to go to the drawing board. You might, and I'm not saying different sonics, different sounds make for a better album, but there's a lot to be said when it sounds like one record just played all the way through. I'm just
do that for the Baby, change his whole career.
Yeah, exactly.
Low key, I'd be kind of listening to some albums that like I'm not familiar with and I want to get a vibe of. I'll be skipping around, and like if I hear multiple tracks that sound the same, I'm not listening to your album.
Yeah. But I digress. That was just a point that kind of came to mind. All the same, it's also to Lil Baby. I definitely enjoy a lot of his verses, so especially when he collabs with Dirk, but that probably won't happen ever again. That's neither here nor there. Unless there's anything else, we can move on to the next topic. And I think that was actually the last. So let me adjust.
This is super off topic. Well, not that off topic, but y'all remember when Joey Badass was pressing Fantano? Because he made it his album.
Yeah.
He was crying to it.
Was that before
It was,
all about the?
It might have been his most recent album, the one that was not that good.
No, I think it was ABBA. whatever that stands for.
All American Badass.
Yeah, I think that
No,
was the
it
one.
was I thought it was the one with the Steez tribute track.
2020 or 2000.
Yeah, I thought it was. I might be wrong. I thought it was 2000,
I thought it was a
but
little longer ago, but I definitely remember that.
yeah,
Yeah,
that just barely occurs to me.
artists really used to step to Fantano. Drake stepped to Fantano at one point. Absol tried to have this little weird debate with Fantano.
Yo, Drake stepping to Fantana was actual comedy.
I forgot about that.
It was the most cringe.
Wasn't he in the DMs?
It was
Yeah,
in Instagram DMs, and the
they're
funny
always in
thing is,
Fantano's DMs.
Fantano made a parody video, not even exposing the message, and then Drake posted it on his own
Mm.
Insta and just aired himself like that. That shit was hilarious. It was some cringeworthy stuff too. Yeah, that's funny. He be getting them going.
Yeah, that's the risk you take when if you want to be a professional music reviewer. Artist gonna
I think
step.
Joey closed the loop on it though, because I remember seeing a recent interview he did with Fantano where they joked
Yeah, I
about
don't think
it.
it was like I don't think Joe was pressing him like it wasn't like really bad. It was more so like kind of laughing about it. But
Mhm.
at least from what I saw, but yeah, Drake was definitely salty.
Hey man, if you're ever losing that battle where you're beefing with the music reviewer and you're losing, all you gotta do is pull up the Lauren Hill clip. Of course, I'm going to be sentimental about my art or something like that. I don't know. I forget. Anyway,